What made your sweet grandma snap in front of the entire family? My grandma Ruth had always been the quietest person in our family. She'd send birthday cards with $20 bills inside, bake way too many cookies for Christmas, and never once raised her voice. Not even when my cousin Tyler broke her favorite vase, or when Uncle Pete would show up drunk to dinner parties. So when our whole family crowded into her tiny living room after Grandpa's funeral to hear the will reading, nobody expected any drama, especially not from her. Uncle Pete, my dad's older brother, had been acting like the king of the family for years. He was always bragging about how close he was with Grandpa, how he helped with the finances, and knew the lawyer personally. The dude even wore a suit to the funeral when nobody else did, like he was trying to look important or something. When the lawyer stood up and started reading, my stomach dropped. The will gave 90% of everything to Uncle Pete and split the remaining 10% between my dad and Aunt Lisa. Everyone looked shocked, except Pete. He actually leaned back in his chair with this gross smirk, like he'd just won the lottery. But then Grandma Ruth slowly stood up from her chair. She walked over to the lawyer, calm as anything, and quietly asked to see the document. After looking at it for maybe 30 seconds, she took off her reading glasses, placed them on the coffee table, and said in the most peaceful voice ever, "This isn't the real will." The whole room went dead silent. You could literally hear the clock ticking on the wall. The lawyer looked totally confused. Uncle Pete's face went white as a sheet. Then Grandma Ruth walked into the kitchen and came back with this thick envelope covered in official-looking stickers and seals. "This is the final version," she said, handing it to the lawyer. "I had it updated with Charles, your father's actual lawyer, 3 months ago, after we found out what Peter was doing." "What I was doing?" Uncle Pete jumped up, his voice cracking. "What the hell are you talking about, Ruth?" That's when my sweet, soft-spoken grandmother's voice started to shake, not from being scared, but from pure anger. "You've been stealing from your father for 2 years, Peter. He didn't want to believe it at first. But after we found the casino withdrawals, the fake invoices for work you never did, and those forged signatures on his checks, he knew exactly what kind of son you really were." The room was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Uncle Pete's mouth was opening and closing like a fish. Grandma Ruth handed the new will to the lawyer and told him to read it out loud. This one split everything equally among all the grandchildren and left a huge donation to the animal shelter where Grandpa volunteered every weekend. Uncle Pete got absolutely nothing, not even his dad's watch. That's when Uncle Pete completely lost it. He started screaming that she was making it all up, that she was going senile and didn't know what she was talking about. He called her a bitter old woman who was jealous that Grandpa loved him most. He even said she probably had dementia and was being manipulated by my dad. And that's when my sweet grandma snapped. She turned toward him, and her voice got louder than anyone in our family had ever heard it. "You stole from your dying father, Peter. You made him spend his last months worrying about money while you were gambling it away. You lied to this entire family and made us all believe you were taking care of him. But you're nothing but a greedy, pathetic thief, and now you'll be treated exactly like one." Uncle Pete tried to argue back, but Grandma Ruth wasn't done. She went back to the kitchen and returned with a manila folder stuffed with papers, bank statements, copies of forged checks, screenshots of text messages, even printed emails that Pete thought nobody would ever see. Turns out Aunt Lisa had been helping Grandma gather evidence for months. She had planned this whole thing. She waited until the entire family was in one room so that everyone would see who Uncle Pete really was, and nobody could ever defend him again. Uncle Pete grabbed his coat and stormed out, slamming the door so hard it rattled the windows. Nobody tried to stop him. Then Grandma Ruth sat back down in her chair like absolutely nothing had happened, smoothed out her dress, and looked around the room with a little smile. "Now who wants some lemon squares? I made extra."